Thank you, and thank you for the work you do.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for appearing today. I refer to your answer to question on notice number 52 from the previous estimates, where I asked about the extent of auditing of Australian Electoral Commission software and systems conducted by the Australian Signals Directorate. Your response was, I quote, "No Australian Cyber Security Centre code review has been completed on AEC systems. The Australian Cyber Security Centre has conducted a vulnerability assessment and partnered with the AEC to conduct multiple uplift activities on the AEC network." End of quote. Can I assume that was sequential? The Australian Signals Directorate did, first of all, a vulnerability assessment and then moved on to the uplift program. Is that correct?
I think we, over the last couple of years that I've been back in ASD, we've done a lot of work with the Australian Electoral Commission, and I think from memory, but I can confirm on notice if you like, Senator, that we stepped through a range of activities with them, first of all to get with them advice on what they might be able to do to uplift their network, and this is a pretty typical pattern with any entity, give them the opportunity to implement that advice and then follow through with a deeper vulnerability assessment that might be more active in nature, where we would attempt to exploit the vulnerabilities on their network to continue to increase their maturity, but we can take on notice the exact sort of sequential steps, if you like.
That'd be great. If you could do not only document your advice,
Sure.
then what the AEC actually did with you, and then the results of each of those steps, please.
Sure, we can take that on notice.
Thank you. Just for my own understanding, by uplift activities, can I confirm you meant the Critical Infrastructure Uplift Program, also known as the CI-UP program? It's a suite of programs, as I understand it, to ensure system cannot be hacked.
That's right, but the work that we've done with the Australian Electoral Commission is outside of that program, okay. And we continue to work with them and actually the state and territory electoral commissions, particularly prior to, during and immediately after an election has occurred, with the view that, frankly, in terms of the preservation of our democracy, assuring ourselves to the best that we can with that partner that an election has not been the subject of cyber attacks is vitally important to our democracy.
Yes, I'm pleased you understand that, and I guess you did. With 16 million voters making choices,
yes.
It's critical. So you're going to provide a timeline which will show when the assessments were done?
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you. And if you could explain what you found in that assessment that necessitated the suite of programs that to be put in place for the AEC.
We will consult with the AEC. Our assessment, if you like, that we do in partnership with any entity is information that is owned by them, but I'm certainly happy to consult with Mr. Rogers on that, and one of us may be able to respond to you on notice.
Perhaps, if you could respond to us, and then if any item they don't want you to respond, if you could just identify that, please.
Sure, we can do that.
And if you could identify what things were identified as needing to be fixed, and what were the vulnerability issues, and then what things were fixed, please.
Okay, yes.
If you could tell us whether the deficiencies still exist, because at the heart of this thread of questions, I'm trying to get to the bottom of a very simple and incredibly important question, as you just alluded to. Is our electoral system software safe and fit for purpose? So you're working with the AEC on their cyber integrity, and I'm guessing you would know that answer, or you should know that answer. So is the AEC computer system during an election safe from cyber intrusion? That's the basic question for those 16 million voters making choices every election.
I understand the question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.